Top DevOps interview questions and answers. 1. What are the top reasons for using AWS for DevOps? Get started fast. Each AWS service is ready to be used without any previous configuration. Fully managed services. This allows you to be focused solely on your product, rather than on making previous configurations work with your product. Built for scale. This has become really fundamental with today's technologies. Programmable. This allows us to automate and replicate our processes. Automation. This provides us with services focused especially on reducing process times. 2. Name the key components of AWS applied in DevOps. Each of the AWS services are designed to work based on the DevOps culture. But I think that the most important to highlight are those that allow a robust CI/CD system to exist, including AWS Code Pipeline, AWS Code Build, AWS Code Deploy, and AWS CodeStar. 3. What is AWS Code Pipeline? AWS Code Pipeline is a fully managed CI/CD service that enables you to automate release pipelines for fast and reliable application and infrastructure updates. 4. Which languages and frameworks are compatible with AWS Code Build? AWS Code Build provides pre-configured environments for supported versions of Java, Ruby, Python, Go, Node.js, Android, .NET Core, PHP, and Docker. You can create and upload a Docker image to the Amazon EC2 Container Registry or the Docker Hub Registry to customize your environment, and later reference this custom image in your build project. 5. Describe a use case for Amazon Elastic Container Service, ECS, in DevOps. The most common case is when you have a microservice that you want to deploy in an environment without any prior provisioning. You can achieve this by creating a Docker image of the microservice and saving it in an image registry, such as the Elastic Container Registry, ECR, which can later be used in a task definition. Using technologies such as Fargate, you can then deploy this in an ECS cluster. 6. What is AMI? An Amazon Machine Image, AMI, is an image supported and maintained by AWS that delivers the information needed to launch an instance. 7. Describe infrastructure as code, IAC, in your own words. IAC is the management of the infrastructure, networks, virtual machines, load balancers, and connection topology, in a descriptive model, using the same version control that the DevOps team uses for source code. This makes it replicable and consistent. 8. How do containers communicate in Kubernetes? There are 3 ways containers can communicate with each other. Through the local host and the port number exposed by the other container. Through a pod's IP address. Through a service that has an IP address and usually also has a DNS name. 9. What's your preferred version control system? Personally, I prefer GIT, but it's fine if yours is different. Just be sure to follow up by mentioning the key reasons and advantages of your choice. 10. How is DevOps different from Agile? The goal of DevOps is to improve communication and collaboration between large teams who are responsible for developing software. This approach differs from that used in Agile, where small collaborating groups work together on adapting quickly as changes occur during the development process. 11. Can you define the DevOps lifecycle? We can define the DevOps lifecycle in 8 simple words. 1. Plan. 2. Code. 3. Build. 4. Test. 5. Release. 6. Deploy. 7. Operate. 8. Monitor. 12. What's the difference between AWS CloudFormation and AWS Elastic Beanstalk? CloudFormation is mainly an infrastructure as code, IAC, service that allows you to easily model, provision, and manage AWS resources. Beanstalk, on the other hand, is more focused on application deployment, helping users avoid all the configuration issues that result from interacting with each service individually. 13. Name a few cloud security best practices. One best practice is that application security must be fully automated to keep pace with dynamic clouds and rapid software development practices. Another is that application security must be comprehensive in scope. A third best practice is that application security must provide accurate and insightful information, not just partial data. 14. How to implement IAC using AWS? There are several ways, But the best option when dealing with AWS would be to make use of the CloudFormation service, which is dedicated to writing infrastructure as code. There are also other options that are pretty good and worth considering if we have multimodal clouds, such as Terraform or Pulumi. I prefer the use of Terraform over CloudFormation. 15. What is the main difference between Terraform and CloudFormation? Terraform is a tool from HashiCorp, and CloudFormation is from AWS. When comparing the two, it's important to realize that, unlike Terraform, CloudFormation is not open source and it follows a roadmap of features set by Amazon. Terraform is cloud agnostic. It provides users with quite a bit of flexibility, and Terraform can be used for any type of resource that can be interacted with via API. 16. What configuration management tools are compatible with AWS? It is possible to use all configuration management technologies with AWS, but the only ones that have dedicated services are Chef and Puppet, which come bundled with AWS OpsWork. 17. Explain how you solved a challenge related to creating a DevOps pipeline. It is important to gather all of the requirements for the pipeline that is going to be created. Talk with the development teams in the case of an application or, in other cases, with the team that requires the functionality, to define how the pipeline is going to be divided and which tools are needed to make it work. Initially, it is important to try to replicate as much of the pipeline as possible locally, so that later you can automate the process. Finally, do several tests to ensure that the workflow concept will actually work. 18. Why is Buffer important in AWS? Buffer helps to synchronize different components, it receives requests and processes them asynchronously. It manages the balance between various components to maintain speed and provide faster service. In AWS, buffering also ensures efficiency over traffic or load.